Without further ado, I'll turn it over to Newton. Most of you, I think, hopefully know Newton. He is the Vice President of Research and Agronomy and Breeding and all things going on at the Research Center in New Ann, and I think probably more than you'd like some days. There's probably a lot going on, so he's a busy man. In that role, as I said, he's leading the ag research as well as the potato breeding program. They're developing new varieties with superior traits and resilience to climate variability, resistance to disease, as well as great yield potential for our growers, for their growers here in PEI. So Newton is going to talk to us today about some research that he and his team have been doing on some products with the potential to increase potato yields, particularly around maybe making nutrients more available or improving the efficacy of plant nutrition. So turn it over to you, Newton.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Ryan. Thanks for this invitation. I probably have a tough mission here. First, just to explain that I know the difference between potatoes and that thing. So I know that those are not potatoes. I just found that that's a cool thing, just to start. Anyway, so there's a lot of work that we have been doing, and some of that related to plant nutrition. So I would like to share some of the results that we got from the last, I would say, 7 years. I know the topic or the main focus here is about yields, productivity, but there's much more in our reality now than that. So there's a lot of sustainable metrics now that involves our agriculture nowadays. So we need to be more efficient at the same time that we need to make sure that we'll be able to keep doing that for a long period of time. Okay, so you can see basically, okay, oh, that's a cool thing. All the different topics or dimensions, how they actually get related to make sure that actually you get, as a final result, yield or efficiency in your crops. So a couple things. There's a lot of factors that are impacting the potato yield. So I'll be talking about nutrition, but nutrition is only a piece of that. If you don't pick the right variety, you don't do the right soil preparation, don't make sure that you get the right good quality seed. Your planting operation is done properly with the equipment actually and the tools that actually our farmers presented this morning as some innovative tools. Don't do a good weed, pest, and disease control, and you don't do your farm spraying operations or healing operations, and even harvesting operations that Rebecca mentioned us today. You can get a great yield, but you can lose all of that when you are delivering or storing. It will be useless to talk about the plant nutrition here as a tool to increase your yields, because you may not get that if you don't do all the other things right. Okay, based on my experience, limited experience, 7 years here on the island, these are the points that I mentioned here to you, and the growers, you know much better than I do. But these are kind of the limiting points or factors that I have seen impacting our potato yields. I don't see us getting to the 700 weight per acre yet, but we have a lot of limiting factors that are preventing us to get there. So there's some of them that we can manage or can control, some of them absolutely not. But it's important to mention these are the lists that I have. Not necessarily in this priority, but all of them, I see that there's a big impact, a significant impact in the final yield. We'll be talking mainly about the plant nutrition piece, But keep in mind, all the other ones, all the other factors that you see there will impact your yields, right? So here's a kind of a example about how do you define which kind of product you should use to help to increase your yields. Simple things, as long as, it could be very simple, as long as you know what it is. So if your problem is a low soil pH, it's simple like that. You need to increase your nutrient availability on that barrel that everyone knows. And you can have a product easy like lime, simple, to fix that. But there are other problems or other things or aspects that you may want to increase, like your nutrient use efficiency, or famous NUEs. You want to increase that because you feel that your fertilizers are not being fully utilized and you're getting losses. So what you want basically is to increase your plant nutrient absorption, and you can get different tools. You need to use different tools, not the lime, right? So for each one of different problems that you have, you will require a different type of product. And these are the type of products that we'll be talking today, sharing basically the information or the experience that we had in the last 7 years, okay? So to start, I separated it in 3 different groups or categories. And depending on the researcher, you can group in 3, 4, 5 different categories. I tried to make it simple. And I had to learn that we have a lot of acronyms in this category. So EFs basically is enhanced efficiency fertilizers. So basically what is that? The ones that you can actually increase your nutrient availability compared to your regular or conventional fertilizers. The second category that we'll be talking about is about the biostimulants. And biostimulants, biofertilizers, so we have different categories. So basically products that involve some kind of substances or chemicals, or eventually microorganisms that helps to increase the root system or get more formation of more robust root system. So there's some different types of products. They are categorized in different ways here, like humic substances, the famous humic/fulvic acids based products. The plant in and seaweed extracts. So we have tested one type of kelp, actually, that can release. It can be used as a biostimulant. Peptides and amino acids. We have tested one of those as well. And the other microbial biostimulant products. And actually, Steve just mentioned some of them just a few minutes ago. And then probably very well known, the foliar fertilizers, right? That normally you use when you need to correct a deficiency or try to kind of correct the deviation of the root in terms of how the plants are showing the symptoms of some kind of deficiency during the season. So how these types of products are used? Most of the time, the enhanced efficient fertilizers are used during the planting time. As well as some categories of some products that are in the category of biostimulants. The enhanced fertilizers are used in the beginning of the cycle as well, the same as biostimulants. And kind of when the plant emerges, you start to use some of the foliar fertilizers. At the tuber initiation stage, you still can use some types of biofertilizers that are recommended to be used at that time, and some categories of some products with foliar fertilizers or soluble fertilizers can be used at that stage. And later in the season, probably only the foliar fertilizers. The other 2 categories of products most likely will not work or will not show much efficiency. Talking about the enhanced efficient fertilizers, basically 2 main nutrients are being targeted. We have products in the market with related to nitrogen and phosphorus mainly. I have nitrogen is a big focus, as Steve was mentioned in his presentation. This is basically just to represent, it's a study that was done almost kind of 10 years ago, mapping the potential surplus that, of nitrogen in soils in the agricultural areas. Okay? And as you can see, here in Canada, not really that much here in the Atlantic coast, but overall in Canada, we are in the category of pretty high surplus here. So there's an opportunity to do a better job on the plant nutrition, because probably some of the nutrients that we are applying are being wasted or lost. In terms of nitrogen, there are three categories, but normally these two categories of stabilized nitrogens that have inhibitors, single or double inhibitors, are being used, are being commercialized. I have some data to share about the Super U that we have tested in the last few years. And there are some other products in the second category of the controlled release. They basically have a coating in their prill. Okay? Just to kind of sharing some of the results, try to make it simple. When you don't see any letters on the graphics, the A, Bs, that means that there is no significant difference. Okay? So one important thing that we do is different from probably 10 years ago, that from every 10 charts or 10 results of trials, 9 of them were with Burbanks. The situation has changed a lot here on the islands. We have been developing and bringing new varieties. So it's important to understand how each one of the varieties actually perform or reacts or respond to different chemicals or products. So that's the reason why we are using multiple varieties most of the time in our trials. And the reason why I have these varieties, Mountain Gem is the largest variety in acreage here on the island right now. Burbank, because it's a reference. Both of them actually have a weak root system. Prospect, a variety that is normally requires less nitrogen, less fertilizer overall, and has a robust root system. Okay. So the trial that was executed in 2022, you have here the fertilization rates of each one of the varieties, and in that year we didn't see any significant result in the three metrics. Well, I had more metrics, but these are kind of the ones related to yield. So the total yield are the columns in blue. So the treatment, the check that was XM basically, and the Super U as a single source of nitrogen in top dressing. And in 2022, I don't know if you remember, probably was one at least what growers were sharing with me, was the best year probably in the last 10, 20 years in terms of crop season. So we didn't see any really significant difference in response comparing the treatment Super U with urea, for example. Last year we did the same trial, but we had a different season, right? Great start in the season. After mid-July, we didn't get any rain anymore. So we start to see some difference, interesting difference here. Not really, really consistent, but Mountain Gem, we were able to observe a difference on the total yield. Check, actually better than Super U. But no significant difference on the marketable yield or in percentage of small potatoes. Althea, we didn't see any difference in any of the metrics. Rusty Burbank was interesting because we got a significant difference on the smalls. So we get much more smalls on the checks and less smalls using Super U treatment. Okay. And Tarhi Russet is a different variety, the determined habit. On that variety, check again was better than the Super U, but in that case on the marketable yield, so size-wise, it was better, that better size profile on the checks. So not so different from what Steve just showed us a few minutes ago, right? Probably this is something different, and normally I don't share information or data from trials when I get just 1 year of information. But this product actually called our attention. We know the limitations of the phosphorus as a nutrient because it doesn't move, and because of the fixation that happens in the field. So basically, the fact that you have a high high numbers on your soil analysis in terms of phosphorus in the soil, doesn't necessarily mean that that's available, because it can be tied up with in acidic soils with some of the minerals. The same one that if you go to basic soils, the calcium actually gets attached to the phosphorus, and you don't have that. The plant doesn't have that available. So we have tested this product called Top Phos, and it seems like the product is a stimulant for root development, and is applied basically in replacement of the DAP. So that's basically what we did as a trial last year. So it's recent new. That's basically the fertilization that we have done. We utilize in 2 varieties. MG, sorry here. Mountain Jam. MG is basically Mountain Jam. TR is Tarhi Russet, so 2 varieties again. And so we have basically the same fertilization. The only thing that we have swapped or switched is basically replacing completely DAP by this product called Top Phos. So, and additional information, this is type of soil. I don't know if it's too small to see, but this is their phosphorus levels. So 444 parts per million is extremely high. So taking Steve's quote, well, what was my expectation? To not respond, because the phosphorus levels are extremely high in the soil. So no, that's not going to work. Sorry, Tyler. And surprisingly, apparently it did work. Not in a consistent way in terms of statistics, but Mountain Gem, we got better yields on Top Phos, numerically speaking, because there's no significant difference. We are not able to get significant difference at 95% confidence level. But the trend in terms of total yield, that is the blue, and the marketable yield is positive. On the other hand, on Tarhi, actually we got a significant difference in the marketable yield, so excluding the small potatoes. And of course, that explanation is a big correlation, kind of. If you have less smalls, which was the case of Top Phos, you get higher commercial yield, right, or marketable yield. So it was very interesting to see that result. We will be testing this, repeating this again in 2025, but we see good indications, and we are hoping to see if we get consistent results in 2025 season. One thing that called my attention is that normally lots of products, they claim to increase the root system to get a more robust root system for the plants to be more resilient to drought and heat stress. I believe that you guys remember or heard about that. 2024 was the warmest year on record, and I was tracking back on the records in terms of temperature. August was one of the warmest Augusts that we had in record as well. So it was 2 degrees above the average, historical average in August. 25 degrees is kind of maximum temperature in August, when normally it's supposed to be 23. So we had much more degree days, and I believe that you recall that after most of the regions here across PI, we didn't have any rain, any significant rain after July 17. So we got around probably 45, 50 days at our research station, around 45 days with 20 millimeters of water only. So kind of, you see the total yields and the marketable yields not impressive, but for a year, stressful year that we had towards the end of the season, it was interesting to see that difference. Okay, and I credit that probably for the better root system that the plants were able to develop. Just in case, I'm just proving or checking that. We have a trial right now in the greenhouses to check on these varieties, and 2 more if there's a difference in the significant difference on the root mass. The second category of products that I want to share some information is about the biostimulant. So we have some examples of products that we have used that we have tested over this in the last 7 years. Humic kind of acid-based products, some inoculants, some hormone-based products, and some silica-based products as well. Okay, all in the same category of biostimulants. This is a summary of results of trials in 2019. So we didn't have any significant difference, but 2019 was a pretty decent year, as you can see that by the yields that we got that year. I didn't have any significant difference between the treatments, and I probably credit that because it was a good year, so you didn't need anything to support you that. But numerically speaking, these hormones on Easy Agro, in terms of numbers, showed better numbers at that trial. I left here the product that we see here active. It seems like the product is working very well in New Brunswick. Talking to some growers there, it seems that there's a good good use of that product there. We were not able to see any difference in our trials here on PEI, and I was digging a little bit more on that product. CropSeal is the silica-based product that we have tested 2 years in a row, and we were not able to see any difference, so we basically stopped testing that. Just about the active, this is information from their website, and I just want to kind of to pay attention in a couple things here. These trials are all done or executed here on PEI, okay? It was a significant number that they achieved in terms of a yield increase, but I circled that the previous crop and the variety here because I want to I will pass in the other results. So great, significant increase with alfalfa as a previous crop. The next trial in 2021, not much. So same treatment, but a different variety and a different previous crop. So that talks to me. Next one, 2022, no difference, another root. So we didn't have actually a legume or something that could bring some residual fertilizer on the previous crop. Another trial in 2022, no difference basically. Take a look on the previous crop, different variety as well. And barley. Barley is something, right? It leaves some residue, but not much nitrogen, but at least some organic matter. So what I'm trying to show here is basically, well, the products can work, but just make sure that you're checking not only the one isolate factor, you probably have other factors influencing the final result. And that's kind of what we have seen. Previous crop that you have in the same area actually could have a very big influence on your result. Another category of biostimulants, well, not another category, but another type of biostimulants. One of them, research we have tested last year, is a humic acid-based product. And we have another treatment. Receptor actually is called Revire here in Canada. This is the name that they have in the US, but the same product is registered in Canada with the name of Revire. So we did a combination of this receptor or Revire here, which is basically a blend of hormones, gibberellic acid, and some auxins and cytokine, and Zypro, which is basically an enzyme. So both liquid products that we have applied in furrow. Okay. So basically, research applied in furrow. We had other couple products, and we have even a kelp-based product that we have tested, so seaweed extract, okay, which was a foliar application. We have tested different varieties as we normally do. And as you don't see any letters on that, we didn't see any significant difference on those results. In terms of total yield, in terms of marketable yield, or even smalls. You see a variation. The smalls are basically the gray line that you see here, okay? Which had impact. So humic acid, one of the products actually got a higher percentage of smalls, which probably is caused by the higher number of tubers that we had on that product. Same as kelp, because they're supposed to increase the number of tubers. Mountain gem, better yields, but still no significant results when using humic acids or plant hormones or even kelp-based, seaweed extract-based products. Okay. Again, I got this from the website from the manufacturer. Hard to get really consistent results. As you can see here, PI will have 5 trials, and one extremely well, the treatment went extremely well compared to the check. Another one was a little bit below, another one that was good, and another one way below the check. So it is hard to get consistency on that category of products. And the varieties were different as well, okay? Steve talked about this, but just want to mention that, Steve, on both nutrition and Invita. We did some work on that, but Steve had covered that already. Even on products like that, you can see majority of the information, actually the trials with positive results, but there's not 100% of the case that we will find actually positive results or significant results. Talk about foliars. I believe that's always, there's a lot of conversation and questions about calcium on potato crops, right? Calcium boron is another one, but we'll be talking about calcium that we have tested for years, and especially these two products, Cats and Calcimax. The only difference is that normally there are foliars, but I didn't do that. I use simple reason. I don't believe that the calcium in the leaves will get to the tubers, because they don't. So if you want to put calcium in the tubers, you should apply close to the tubers, where the tubers are. So that's what we did. So maybe that's the only thing that on all trials that we have done that I didn't follow the label, let's say, the recommended application. Because I would like to see, especially on these 2 varieties, Shepherd and Prospect, those varieties are really very inefficient in terms of capture or absorption of calcium. They are normally all the data that I have getting analysis of the tubers, the calcium content of these 2 varieties are the lowest from the ones that we use for potato processing. So basically those products, this is 2019 that we have a decent year. Still, we didn't see a response on these products, especially because they were in dry land. So calcium doesn't move if you don't have the water, right? Okay, or basically doesn't move at all, especially if you have a dry season. Yields actually moved in 2020 because we have more water there. And especially it was the driest year, so you can see the difference on between the dry land and irrigated. I believe that the growers remember very well that year, especially the growers that had irrigation systems. So still, we didn't see a difference in either way, or irrigating or not irrigating. But in that case, there's a trend that we got on Shepherd's at least, better yields, numerically speaking, than the check. That is in Shepherd. If you turn into Prospect, actually things change, right? Because Calcimax actually look better for that variety. Still, again, not significant difference, which we believe that for this category of products, and this is basically just the information that I got from the manufacturer, this is Calcimax, okay? So you don't have consistent results anyway, because this is the number of trials that they got, that these are the results that they got, okay? So sometimes, or they hope that most of the time, you'll get good results, but eventually will not have good results. And this is kind of the type of, is the nature of this kind of products. Okay, so I was trying to figure out, well, am I doing something wrong that I don't see a difference between these products, or the products are snake oil, or what the heck is happening? So I took some, I was digging a little bit on that, and interesting thesis from Washington State University. They did assess this, what they call non-traditional soil and foliar additives to increase the potato yield, and checking if there's an economic return. So he tested, actually Colton tested 27 different treatments, and you can see these are not, if you put this together, it's not 27, it's more than 27, so he did some combinations to get those 27 treatments to compare with check for 3 years. Some products only 1 year, some do, some 3. And applied in different ways, in furrow, foliar, through irrigation system, or a combination of any of those 3. So he got the cost of those products, those 27 treatments, were varied between $600 to $360 an acre. And basically the gross return rates we got from negative 9%, so growers were losing money if we use that product, or other products he got up to 11%. So there's a huge range between those 27 different treatments. So I decided to do the same. I did analyze. We have tested around 20 different products in the last 7 years. Inoculants, biostimulants, we call specialty fertilizers, and types of humic acids. So in my case, I just did on in-furrow application of foliar spray. And our cost is updated cost for 2025 now. Between 2024 and 2025, I didn't get some new prices for 2025 yet. So, but the cost of these treatments of these 20 different products were costing between $15 and $50 per acre. And based on the market yield impacts that we saw, statistically or not, in terms of significant, varied between minus 26%, almost 26%, and positive 20%. So even wider range in our case here, okay? Again, many different factors contribute to that. Different years, different crop seasons, different varieties, right? Irrigated, non-irrigated, okay? In his case, Washington State University, 100% under irrigation. At least he didn't have that variable, okay? So to basically finish, or to conclude, a couple of charts that I have here. First, the sustainable agriculture is here. So we can call sustainable agriculture, regen ag, regenerative ag, whatever you want to call that. It's not only yield. There's a big target now on the reduction of greenhouse gas emissions. And those enhanced efficient fertilizers are basically very efficient, one tool actually to get there, especially if you follow the 4 R's, the right place, right time, right amount, right, and right place. As you could see, most of the products, they don't deliver consistent results. Why? Well, climate is changing. Every crop season is different. We are using different varieties. And each grower, each one of you have a different production system. The other thing that's very important, more biological products are coming, right? And by design, they will not deliver consistent results. We're talking about live stuff. So if it's hot, it's cold, it's dry, it's wet, they react in a different way. So you cannot expect similar results every year. That's not going to happen. I'm not sure if it's good or bad news, but more of these biological products are coming. So, and they'll be launched in the market. I believe the good news is that we have big companies, serious companies actually behind these new products. And that brings more confidence for us, and farmers, to test those ones. Especially because we are losing the traditional chemicals, right? So we probably need to start to associate, but the chemicals, the conventional or traditional fertilizer chemicals with the biological ones, because that's a trend, and that probably we will not be, that will be irreversible. What we have learned based on the trials that we have seen on the island, Atlantic Agritech, Genesis, they're doing a lot of trials, PI Potato Board through the AIM group, and us. basically there's a lot of trials being done locally, and I believe that what the best response in terms of recommendation is take a look on all those results and follow the trend, because you'll not have, I should not say never, but most likely you'll not have 100% results positive to product A, B, or C. Okay, and as I mentioned, crop results are very dependent on the crop season and very variety specific. And as I'm kind of a final message to you is before you start to add more cost or more risk to your business, make sure that you identify what are your key limiting factors. I'm talking about not only nutrition, but nutrition is one of them. It could be one of them. Make sure if you want to pick a product, understand how the product, what the product does and how it works. Okay? If you don't know that, ask for your agronomist or your consultant or for your distributor or chemical helper. And make sure that you pay very much attention on details on the conditions that are required for the product, especially if you're dealing with biologicals. Biologicals, no, if it's too hot or too dry, or if it's not the right conditions, you are set up to failure. Okay, so make sure that you understand how the product works and you apply on the right conditions. And of course, that is very important: financial risks and benefits. Looking at those costs of $15 to $50 per acre, you probably can get you can try some of the products with a pretty good level of confidence that if things work, probably will work well, fantastic, you make money. But if it doesn't, well, maybe 1 bag or 2 bags or 3 bags eventually for your acre is not that much. Of course, that we need to talk about scale. If you're a 1,000 acres grower, of course, that every penny counts. But take a look on not only on the final result of the yields, but I believe that some value added on those products, because certain products keep acting not only for the result for the crop season, but they keep delivering benefits, keeping availability of your increasing the availability of the nutrients for the subsequent crops as well. That's your rotational crop. So think about that as well when you make a decision on your investment of which product you'll be using. Okay, that's basically the message that I want to share with you today. I just want to kind of say thank you to my team, the Research Center team that actually made this happen in the last 7 years. So we have William and Rory here, and without the team, I definitely would not be able to share this information with you. I did much.